morning. It's another beautiful Wednesday morning on JDN Radio 101.5 FM, and welcome to the newspaper review. Today, the 14th of January, 2026. And this morning, I have come here with two dailies, the Punch newspaper and The Nation. And my name is Abiodun Sampson. Stay tuned. It's still the newspaper review on your dial 101.5 FM, JDN Radio. And on the Punch newspaper for this morning, the first headline that says government budget 525 billion naira for security as killing spread. And also, federal road spending soars for 89% to 3.23 trillion naira. And also, victims identify alleged Owo Church attackers in court. And Nigeria, UAE scrap tariffs on over 13,000 goods. Counterinsurgency, US delivers military supplies to Nigeria. And still on the Punch newspaper for today, the 14th of January 2026, with this headline that says 2027 ADC faction ties Jonathan Saraki Makinde alliance. And also, court awards $25,000 against Merta in Falano's privacy suit. And also, EFCC returns 802 million naira stolen from First Bank. And also, Sokoto resident panic over renewed bandit attack. If you're just tuning in, it's still the newspaper review on your dial 101.5 FM, JDN Radio, broadcasting for us situated at 1 Church Street, Joyce B Road, Okeado, in the city of Ibadan, Nigeria. And I'm moving forward to The Nation with this headline that says US delivers critical military asset to battle terrorist bandits. And also on The Nation, Tinubu target $30 billion green finance to boost electricity access, and $1.8 trillion set aside to pay federal government contractors. And also on The Nation, legal dispute, Netstoy Nekondo refute force, misleading narrative by lenders. And also on The Nation, 864,798 students get 161.97 billion naira loans for tuition and upkeeps. And those are the stories that made it to the front page of The Nation for this morning, the 14th of January 2026. And now to the stories from the headline that made it to the Punch newspaper for this morning that says a government budget 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. States across Nigeria earmarks a combined 525.23 billion naira for security votes and related operations between 2023 and 2025. According to an analysis of figures extracted for the approved budget documents, the state budgets are contained in Open State, a budget-backed website that serves as repository of government budget data. The massive vote, intended to bolster security nationwide, raises critical concerns about the efficacy of these measures as citizens remain increasingly vulnerable to the tides of violence. Although the responsibility for ensuring the safety of lives and properties lies with the federal government, the increasing waves of kidnapping, robbery, and other forms of violence has compelled many state governors to set up their own internal security strategies to combat the menace. However, these efforts have not yielded the desired result as criminals continue to operate with impunity, terrorizing the citizens. The analysis is based on the budget of 32 state governors as Gombe, Kebbi, Niger, and Yobe did not clearly disclose their allocations for security votes. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. If you're just tuning in, it's still the newspaper review on your dial 101.5 FM. And I have this headline from Punch that says Federal road spending soars 489% to 3.23 trillion naira. The federal government has proposed spending 3.2 trillion naira on the constructions and rehabilitations of federal roads in the 2026 budget, marking a sharp increase in capital allocation to the transport sector as it intensifies effort to complete long-delayed highways and repair critical corridors nationwide. The proposed spending represents an increase of about 489% in 2 years compared to 548.56 billion naira allocated to road projects in the 2024 budget, highlighting a significant shift in fiscal priority towards road infrastructures. Budgetary document further shows that the Ministry of Work received 1.013 trillion naira for the constructions and rehabilitations of 468 federal roads in the 2025 budget, up from the 2024 allocation. The proposed 2026 figures more than triples the 2025 provision, underscoring the government's renewed commitment to accelerate the delivery of inherited projects and flagship highway development nationwide. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning, the 14th of January 2026. Okay, so moving forward, still on the Punch newspaper with a headline that says Nigeria, UAE scrap tariffs on over 13,000 goods. The federal government has announced that Nigeria has eliminated tariffs on 6,243 products imported from the United Arab Emirates, and the UAE has removed tariffs on 7,315 products imported from Nigeria as part of a new trade pact aimed at expanding market access for Nigerian goods, businesses, and professionals. The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment disclosed this on Tuesday via a document on the Nigerian-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement signed in January 2026. According to the ministry, the agreement will expand market access, opportunities for Nigerian products, businesses and professionals into the UAE while facilitating investment flows, marking a major step in Nigeria's non-oil export drive and economic diversification agenda. For trade in goods, the ministry said Nigeria is committed to eliminating tariffs on 6,243 products imported from the UAE. The UAE also committed to eliminating tariffs on 7,315 products imported from Nigeria. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. forward to the nation with this headline that says U.S. delivers critical military assets to battle terrorist bandits. Nigerians' counter-terrorism effort got a boost yesterday with a supply of military assets by the United States. The U.S. delivered critical military supplies to the Nigeria to support the ongoing security operations against terrorists and non-state actors. The supplies, according to the U.S. African Command AFRICOM, underscore the security partnerships between the two countries. U.S. forces deliver critical military supplies to our Nigerian partners in Abuja. These deliveries support Nigerians' ongoing operations and emphasizes our shared security partnerships, says AFRICOM on its official X account yesterday. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. And moving forward with The Nation with this headline that says Tinubu targets $30 billion green finance to boost electricity access. The federal government is targeting the mobilizations of $30 billion in climate and green industry finance for energy transition reforms and electricity access. The fund is also being projected to enhance other sectors of the economy such as infrastructures, logistics, digital trade, aviation, agriculture, and climate-smart infrastructures. Part of the mobilization platform will be Investopia, which Nigeria will co-host with the United Arab Emirates (UAE) in Lagos next month. It is part of the renewed effort to attract global investors and accelerate sustainable investment inflow into the country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the plan at the 2026 Abu Dhabi Sustainable Week, where Nigeria also concluded a comprehensive economic partnership agreement (CEPA) with the UAE to deepen bilateral trade and cooperations across key growth sectors. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning, the 14th of January 2026. And still on The Nation for this morning with a headline that says 1.8 trillion set aside to pay federal contractors. An amount of 1.8 trillion naira has been set aside to settle the outstanding payments owed by contractors for federal government capital projects. This is contained in the 2026 appropriation bill pending before the National Assembly. Specifically, a total of 100 billion has been earmarked for payment to indigenous contractors as part of effort to stabilize the construction sectors and restore confidence among local firms. The payments will cover projects executed under the 2024 fiscal year. Highlights of the 2026 appropriation bill submitted to the National Assembly shows that the government is prioritizing funding for contractors and construction projects, which with substantial provision for settlement of prior debts and payment of new and ongoing contracts. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. If you're just tuning in, it's still the newspaper review on JDN Radio 101.5 FM. And if you want to be part of the newspaper review, you have a contributions or any of the headlines or the stories I've read from the headlines have sparked a reaction, so you can call into the studio line on 07048 001015 and 08022102163. 07048 001015 and 08022102163. I'm moving forward with The Nation with his headline that says 8,006 164,798 students gets 161.97 billion naira loans for tuition and upkeep. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, has disbursed over 161.97 billion naira to tertiary institutions for tuition fees and upkeep for over 864,798 students. The agency recorded 1.36 million loans applications from eligible students on its portal. The managing director, Akintunde Sweya, who announced the figure, says the organization was in the process of reconciling outstanding students' upkeep payments amounting to 927.98 million naira, affecting 11,685 beneficiaries nationwide. According to him, the outstanding payments were uncovered following a routine reconciliation conducted at the end of the 2024-2025 academic sections. He clarified that the delays were not the result of the withheld funds or policy failures, but were caused by technical and operational challenges, including temporary network downtime, failed transactions, and difficulties validating some students' bank account details. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. Studio Newspaper Review, and I said if you want to be part of the conversation, you can call into the studio line on 07048 001015 and 08022102163. And I will be reading out the headline from the Punch newspaper, which are the stories that I've read out for this morning. I read that government budget 525 billion naira for security as killing spread. And I went further to read federal road spending soars 489% to 3.23 trillion naira. And also, I read the story that Nigeria, UAE scrapped tariffs on over 13,000 goods. And also, I read the story that court awards $25,000 against Metas in Falano's privacy suit. And I went further to read The Nation with this headline that says, U.S. deliver critical military asset to battle terrorist bandits. And also, I read the story that Tinubu targets $30 billion green finance to boost electricity access. And also, I read that 1.8 trillion set aside to pay federal contractors. And also, I read the story that 864,798 students gets 161.97 billion loans for tuitions upkeep, and that is on The Nation. And those are the headline I read from the two dailies for this morning on the newspaper review. Hello? Hello? Hello, good morning. right, so we'll be calling it a wrap on the newspaper review on JDN Radio 101.5 FM. And I know you might have one or two things to say on the newspaper review. Do not worry, you still have a lot of time to say that on the newspaper review in Yoruba language version on Afoni Royin. That'll be coming up shortly. So if you have any contribution or something to say, it will be translated in Yoruba language for you, and you can be part of the conversation and the studio. Do not forget, I've given you all the studio lines and you can always call. And do not forget, our programs continues and the newspaper review continues tomorrow. I remain Abiodun Samson till I see you in the afternoon for traveling to Egypt. How to do it yourself on Travel with Ease by 3 to 4 p.m. See you then.